Thanks for joining us here on Digital Creators, and today I'm going to kind of go over iMovie. It'll be partly intro, kind of behind the scenes. I'm actually working on another project right now, and I thought, why not waste the effort and record it? It may be simple. I do have more advanced tutorials coming up, and typically I actually use Final Cut, but for this purpose I thought, let me go back to using iMovie because I think that's what the mass probably uses. And if you're looking to upload videos on YouTube, adding an outro, just simple navigating through iMovie and you never used it before, then stick around. If not, check out my other channel. I have some other great things popping up, and I'm working on a bunch of projects right now. So thanks for joining us, and let's get started. Excuse me. So the first thing you want to do is open up iMovie. So if you never used it before, when you open it up, you're going to start with an empty project. And as you can see, there's no clips. I deleted any clips that I had in here, and I'm under iMovie. So you want to create, the first thing you want to do is create a project, of course. So I'm going to hit New, Movie, and unlike Final Cut Pro, where it's a little bit simpler, this gives you all these themes to make it user-friendly. Feel free to use these themes if you think they fit your project, what you're working on. I generally just go with no theme. Name, and I will call this iDraw because I did a textures on iDraw, and I'm going to add that in there. So of course, the first thing you want to do is you need clips to make your storyline, and you can import them several different ways. You can, up here there's the import button. You can click this, file will open, and you can navigate that way. I always felt that was kind of hard navigating. The way I like to do it is just drop and drag. If you open up, I'm on a second screen right now recording this, so I slid my two clips here that I just did on iDraw over here on this desktop, just so you can kind of see me click and drag. I'm just going to click them and add them to the folder. And that's it. They're background rendering, but you can edit during that process. And this is my first one. You probably won't hear sound because I'm not actually recording my system's audio. But if you want to know how to do that, and if you've ran into problems with the for the life of me I can't think of it. It's a popular systems recording software. Anyway, if you're running into problems, I have a video on an alternate solution that's free. It's another software. There's a paid version of it, but you don't have to do that if you're just looking to capture the system's audio if you're doing recording. So I dropped it in my first clip in the timeline, and I want to do some simple editing. Well, one of the things I want to do is expand this out so I can see more of the clip. As you can see, it's 14 minutes long, this first portion. And actually, while I'm at it, I'm just going to go ahead and drop the second part of the clip in here right now. And you can shrink this down too if you think that view is a little too big by clicking on that little film strip. And you can shrink the height of the clip, and then you can shrink the width. That's kind of an easy way to look at it. This kind of does the height, and this does the width. So I'm going to grab that second one, I think. Double click on it, drag it down here, and drop it right in place. And if there's no audio on this, I am going, oh, there we go. Woo! The only reason it's two clips is because I stopped recording because I actually thought I didn't record the audio on the first one. So another quick feature is, as you can see, I can expand this timeline right here on this bar, but you can actually pinch and zoom on this, which I'm doing right now. I'm pinching and zooming inside this. As long as your cursor's inside this project window, you can shrink it and make it bigger that way. And also you should have an option here. So if you're kind of focused more on the, make it bigger, show waveforms. So if you're not really worried about audio, you can click that off. If you want to make sure you see your audio, then click that button, and then you can see your audio waves to be able to adjust it from that. When you're editing your videos and adjusting the sound, if you're not doing live and you have some control over it, a rule of thumb is you want the peaks to hit the yellow, and then you want to avoid obviously the red. So I'm going to move this up so some of these peaks hit the yellow, and that way you kind of know it's loud enough for the viewer who's watching it. And of course you can always test it too, just to make sure. And what I do when I test it is, sometimes you may have a habit of having your audio on your computer maxed. I put it halfway, my volume, which I just did, but it's on the second screen, so you can't really see that adjustment. And when you play it back, you want to make sure your audio on your computer is halfway, and then hear it at a decent level. If the user has to turn it up max just to hear it average, they might get disinterested, and I've done that tons of times. Not on this channel, but I've had some audio problems in the past, but I finally think I solved most of them. I'm just going to play this, so if you hear my voice again in the background, and actually that level sounds pretty good. So the next thing I want to do is I'm just going to go ahead and find a good spot just to match these up so it's a little bit seamless, and then I'll kind of show you how to add in an intro and outro. In fact, while I'm doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and drag in this outro. I'll use something simple for this video, but I've used in the past, if you see some of my videos, the outros are a little different that I've done in Final Cut, but you can use any outro, and I'll show you kind of how to make one in here. So I'm going to back this up, and that's where I end talking. So I just want to make sure.
I sure hope I had this on.
All right, so I said to myself, I hope you were recording this.
Dominant. Kind of like that.
So I don't think they need to hear me say that I thought I punted the audio out in left field.
Kind of like that.
And then I'll pick it up again right here. And then you can even go as far as
that looks pretty good.
making sure that the mouse, if you really want to get technical, if you look on here, you see my mouse cursor is over by the text. I can feel this pause. Once it jumps over here, it clicks, so I can actually
kind of like that. All right, so that looks pretty good.
I could actually find a spot where that mouse doesn't jump as much, so it doesn't look cut. But in this case, I don't think I'm worried about too much. And then if I was going to add a transition, which I'm not, but if I was jumping from clip to clip from different scenes and you want to add a transition, and hopefully during this video, if you're new to this, I'm going to hopefully touch on most of these options to give you a little bit of variety in what you're doing. These are your transitions up here, and all you would do is drag it right in the middle of the clip and adds it in as a transition. Pretty simple. So if you watch this video clip now, it shows the text. I'm deleting the text, and let me zoom in a little bit so I can get closer to the end. so you're not waiting. There you go.
Alright,
And
so kind of like that. Alright, so that looks pretty good.
did I delete my transition? Let me try it again.
Kind of like that.
Okay, for some reason I did not see a transition. Maybe it's still rendering, that's why.
Kind of like that. Alright, so that looks...
That's weird. That's never happened before. I swear it didn't happen. Duration, maybe I have to apply or wipe. Let's just go for 2 seconds just to make sure that it's not jumping over it.
Kind of like that. Alright, so that looks pretty good.
Wow. Well, I'm going to leave that there and let this catch up because I know it's rendering some of the files here, and we'll get back to that to check it out. All right, so you want to add a outro. I dropped a clip in here that I could use for my outro. That's quick. And actually that is my intro, but the only reason I won't add this when I upload it to YouTube is because in YouTube there is a feature that as long as your intro is not more than 2 seconds, you can add it as a default, so it automatically adds that intro to all your videos when you upload. May not be a big deal. They say to keep your intros less than 5 seconds in a general rule of thumb. Otherwise, if somebody's waiting for your 20-second intro to load, they're going to get bored and jump to another channel because we have these ADD minds that are jumping all over the place and will forget what even video we're watching. So you want to keep them short. 2 seconds is kind of quick for me, but I don't mind it because I don't want it to be long. And having that feature in YouTube to where you can add it as an automatic adding to your video uploads is a time saver, especially if you're doing a lot of videos. It's less work you have to do. And if you're a gamer using something like Game Capture HD and you just want to upload straight from the Elgato software, you don't have to worry much about editing. All you do is cut the back and front off inside the Elgato software and then upload it. It's a big time saver because editing can be time consuming and cause a lot of your problems of getting your videos up. And I'm rambling. I apologize. I may ramble time and time again. I gotta snap myself back into it. All right, here we go. All right. So we're gonna intro. Actually, I'm gonna trim the front of it first. So I'll take it up about right there. Bam. Now, if you want to as you grab that end and you slide it and you want it to snap, it should kind of be set that.
Welcome to
All right, so that's ready to begin. It should already be set to that. And you can also, let's see, snap. That's where did snap go? Snap, edit, paste, select all, add to clip, cross, mark, favorites, markers, modify, enhance, flash, hold frame. I'll just talk about these actually while I'm looking at it. Enhance is automated enhancing your video if you're not sure how to adjust the contrast or brightness or whatever. Fade to black and white, so you can have the clip fade in and out. Hold a frame, so if you want to freeze a frame, you put your cursor down here or your bar on the timeline, and then you can freeze that frame right there and then adjust the length that it's frozen. What else we got here? Mute audio, trim clip edge, and these are some shortcuts. A good one to remember is the Command B. That's one I use a lot. And if I don't want to click and drag and I just want to chop a piece out, I would just stick it here. Say if I want to cut a section of it off. In fact, let me go to the end and where there's a instead of dragging it, I will actually cut it. So right here, my clip, and I'll expand this a little bit further so we can get a little bit more accurate with the clip.
Bye.
So let's say if I want to shrink this, I can grab this and slide it over to this bar, or I can just make sure my cursor is on that bar where I kind of want it, and I can Command B, and that trims it right there. So before I go ahead and delete this section, I'll also show you this. So say if you didn't want it, or you maybe trimmed it not the right spot, you can actually grab that, and it will expand the full length of the rest of the video. If for some reason you need to adjust that portion of where you cropped it. And now I deleted it, it's gone. Forever it's going in cyberspace. All right, let's see what else. I'm not going to do this much on this video, but let's say if I had a lot of dead time. Not even sure what I'm doing there.
Oh, are you kidding?
In fact, this may be a perfect example. This is near the end of my clip, so you can do one or two ways. You can trim that portion out like I just showed you, or you can highlight that section, and then speed up just that portion where there's no audio and it really goes unnoticed. It provides a little better seamless transition and vice cutting it and maybe seeing a mouse cursor crop or sound or whatever. So I'll speed up 4 times. Now I just shrunk that dead time by a 1/4. And if you want to clean up your pauses in your video, that's another way to do it. So I'll just go through and take some of the obvious ones. I'm not too concerned. I know whoever is looking for this information can always jump ahead. But I definitely don't want to try to intentionally bore them like I'm probably doing now by rambling. Ramble. Wow. Shrunk that portion. And there we go. So let's look for an obvious one right here. Just make sure I'm not talking about anything right there important. Or so if you want this section to come up, when you first click on it, it's going to highlight the whole thing. Just hold down the click until it actually shows you that bar. If that makes sense. Speed up 4 times. Bam. And make sure I'm not demonstrating something here. This is like bonus. See, I just held down a click and it showed me that bar. It's the end of my video where I'm just kind of showing some behind the scenes of trying to work out getting a 3D text. So it's intentionally kind of gapped, not intentionally, but I'm just working through the process, and whoever's interested can kind of watch it. That's what I'm doing. Speed it up 4 times. But the meat of it looks like I have some good audio there that covers most of that, and then I start getting near the end. And that's kind of what this video is. It's kind of behind the scenes. So if I'm losing you, I apologize greatly. It's not something I'll always do. But you know, so many people clean up their stuff and make it all pretty, and just you never really get to see the work around, because sometimes you learn more about watching people make mistakes. And that's what I love to do. I don't love to do it, but I do it a lot because it's a journey for me. I'm always learning. I don't know a lot, but I know enough to get by. All right, so we'll just leave it at that. So what we need to do? Oh, an outro. Let's say we want to do an outro. Let me shrink this clip because I don't really care about how big it is right now. Go scroll back to the beginning. We want an outro. We want an outro. We want an outro. So titles is a good one to use as outro. You can even get away with using I guess a transition if you want, or transition into an outro. But they do have some basic ones here that you can use. Some text-based overlays here. All pretty good. And these are all standard. I didn't purchase or get any of these. Look at some bokeh. If you know anything about photography, that's some major bokeh-licious. Oh, got the glare, the lens glare right there. That's a pretty tight one. So there you go. Got a GameStop. It looks like GameStop, doesn't it? And the Star Wars. Okay, that's it. So, did I cover most of the details? Intro, outro, basic editing. Now it's time to upload. And I want to upload this to YouTube. I don't have an intro on there because I have one on YouTube already. Ready to go. Leave a basic outro. You know what? Maybe I'll add this right here. And I want to fix the text, right? And I just double click on the text. They make it too easy. And I will put something basic here. Not basic. It's kind of my story, I guess you could say. My mission statement. Okay, caps lock. Come on. All doesn't matter because it's all caps on this one. Share your journey and join digital creators. Because that's what we are about. In fact, if you look at the audio recording one, my 13-year-old son did that because he likes to record the system audio. He was having problems with, still can't think of the name of that program. So he decided to do that video. But he actually has a channel for himself. And if you watch some of my upcoming videos, you will see I'm going to go behind the scenes to that channel and how it's doing and some of the techniques I use. Although they produce the content, I do pretty much all the behind the scenes as far as adding tags, descriptions, optimizing the video the best that I can to help them out. And you'll get to see some of that, where they're at and what I use to keep them going forward. And it is relatively successful. It's not huge, but for them, it's successful enough. And bingo. All right, so let's upload it. Time to upload. File. Share. So if I wanted to send it to Final Cut, I could do that. I'm not sure why. Maybe if there's some editing features in Final Cut that I couldn't do in iMovie, I could do that. Post on Facebook. Facebook? Or is that a Facebook? My face? Image or a file. So if I wanted to just save it to the hard drive first and then upload it, I could also do that. But we are going to YouTube, but not that one because that's my son's YouTube. So I need to create another YouTube. And this is good because we're learning here. It's been a while since I used it. Cancel. I want to share it. Share it, edit file, Import, send movie to Final Cut, update. I need to change this right here. I do. Let me see what it says. Blah blah 15 minutes. Here we go. So I denied it, and I will use wait a minute, cancel. Man, this gets complicated. Allow. Okay. And I'm going to open up YouTube and go to my channel, because we have a channel under one, so it's like multiple channels under one account. YouTube. Make sure mine's logged in. That's my son's. I'll go to mine. Digital creators, all 4 subscribers. New channel. Hopefully you will be number 5th. The 5th. Make sure I'm logged in there, so maybe it might go to mine. Maybe. Gaming, private. I always set to private, that way I can adjust some of the features inside this video. Let's see. How to add text styles. I draw Mac. Next. Allow. Publish. And if you look up here, you know it's publishing by looking at that. So what I'm going to do is go to YouTube. And hopefully if I click on my channel here, and I look at Video Manager, I don't see it yet. I will be greatly disappointed if it shows up here. Greatly disappointed. Whew. Not yet. Let's see, what's it going to be? Did it work? Did it work? And I will sign off here in a second once I verify this, but if it doesn't work, know that I will delete it and just save it as a file and then upload it the other way until I figure this out, because trying to figure out iMovie to separate the email login into a different channel, well, might take a little time. Refresh. Nothing yet. Oh man, I know it's going to do this one. I know it. Don't do it to me. Whew, nothing yet. Get back over there before it decides to. Sometimes it determines what accounts kind of open on YouTube or active. Just give it to me. Be nice. Be nice. Like I said, I usually use Final Cut, so I have Final Cut set up to upload into this account. And show me something. Okay, so I'm not going to keep you around and make this video longer than what it needs to be, but I can assure you that as you're watching this, you could click on my channel and you will see that video there, no matter how I put it up there. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this kind of behind the scenes simple intro to iMovie, and stick around hit subscribe and leave a comment, share this journey with me, and I plan on having more in-depth tutorials on iMovie. And if you have a suggestion of something you want to see, leave it in the comments, and I will definitely hit those things earlier, vice later. Otherwise, I just kind of may follow a path that may be systematic, or depending on what project I'm working on, I may hit certain things at certain times. So if you want to see something, leave a comment and I'll post it. You can critique it, you can learn from it, and you can teach me. Share this journey together. Thanks for watching, everyone. And as always, bye.